Good Wednesday evening, everyone. Mark Abrams, along with the former NFL quarterback. Hopefully, we'll be joined by NFL writer from Philly Voice, phillyvoice.com, Joe San Liquido. We'll be discussing tomorrow nights. We're just about 24 hours away from the National Football League Draft 2021 live in Cleveland. I'm going to break down some of the picks. Glenn, obviously, the former quarterback, has been watching a lot of these athletes, a lot of these quarterbacks specifically, over the past couple months. Glenn, how's everything going?
Everything's great. Everything's great. I wish we should have started with some of the clips from last year's draft that we did and everything. We were basically dead on a lot of the picks, even the Herbert, the Burrow. The Tua, I said Tua was a bust, blah, blah, blah. We're going to get some of that this year, too. A lot of teams have the quarterbacks rated. Some of them have them dropping. Some of them have them rising. It's going to be an interesting draft. I'm looking forward to it, Weeze. Second year in a row. And I we all look up and down. Everyone's doing mock drafts. But
we're going to kind of do that. We're going to, we're not going to do a mock draft per se. We're going to kind of match some teams up with the players a little bit.
Boom, boom, boom. We're going to do a quick show, 12, 13. We like Philly, so and the Chargers pick at 13 because I'm a Herbert guy. Last year I was saying take Herbert, take Herbert, take Herbert. Two is a bust, two is a bust. And I got a blockbuster that's going to, in terms of that topic, as we go through some of these picks. But let's roll. If Santa Liquido shows up, if Santa Liquido isn't sniffing some of the jocks in the Eagles locker rooms, then he may show up. No, I'm just kidding, Joey.
He'll be on in a minute. I just got word he'll be on in a minute. The question, the first question I have before we get into the picks, these kids are 24 hours away from changing their life. You when you were in this situation, you were thought maybe second, third round pick, and obviously you were 24 hours away from thinking that. You slid to the seventh. But what are these kids thinking now? 24 hours as Joe San Liquido joins us. Joe joins from Philadelphia. But Glenn,
hey Joe,
what's up, Glenn? How you
doing? What are these kids thinking? 24 hours away, their life's about to change. They're about to move to a new city. What was going through your mind before the draft?
I knew I was going down. I knew my stock was plummeting, whether people knew it or not. I was a 6-footer, 6'1". I think some in terms of rumors, in terms of the things that are being said about certain players as the draft gets closer. By the time the draft got closer, I was 5'10 and a half, which was ridiculous because I was 6'1". The lowest I measured height-wise was 6'1 and a quarter, but I measured as big as 6'2". But the word gets out that you're a little undersized, and before you know it, you're 5'9 and a half, and your stock's dropping like a stone. And that's what happened to me. Tom Brady looked like Arnold Schwarzenegger in his combine picture compared to my picture. I just had bad body, slow 40. 6 foot 200.
Obviously, the first player picked who's going to be tomorrow night is Joe. I'm glad you're able to light up your room a little bit so we can see you. Is Trevor Lawrence, and I went first. I want Glenn's evaluation. Lawrence is one of these guys. I call him an anytime, anywhere guys. Meaning, like from the second he stepped on campus at Clemson, he was going to be the number one pick in the draft anytime he came out, any year, any this, any that. Guys like Andrew Luck, Peyton Manning, dating back to John Elway, those were those kind of guys where you knew 2 years before they were going to be the number one pick in the draft. Does Trevor Lawrence fit that exact same profile for you?
Yes, multiple Super Bowl projected guys. I think he wins 2+. It's hard to tell. Again, Aaron Rodgers, Peyton had 2, Eli won 2. So you don't know the Super Bowls, and it's not necessarily a judgment of how great the guy is. It's nice to have 5 or 6. Who's playing?
What is that noise in the background?
That's
my TV.
Joe, that you watching Saturday Night Fever again? Yeah, no, he's the real deal. You could tell when he came out. But what he also did this year with all the social issues that were going on, he got mature real quick, and he's going to take over Jacksonville in terms of what he did, not just on the field but off the field. He's become real mature, real fast, and he's the total package. He can run, he can lead, he can throw. He's accurate from the pocket, and he's a no-brainer.
Joe, do you have something on in the background?
Yeah, I just put the mute on my TV.
All right, please do.
And that was my phone.
Okay. So anyway, as a I'm gonna ask you a question. If you were a writer down in Jacksonville, what's the narrative on Trevor Lawrence? Say you were covering the Jaguars. Joe, can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you. I'm sorry. What's that, Mark?
The narrative in turn. If you say you were covering the Jacksonville Jaguars, what's the narrative? What would be the type of story you're trying to look for as Trevor Lawrence tries to resuscitate this franchise?
One, they're getting a proven winner. I think they have the ideal coach in Urban Meyer. They can both grow together with this, and it's just a new beginning. I mean, if I'm a Jacksonville Jaguars fan or if I'm covering the team, it's only positive, because the only thing too is that the Jacksonville Jaguars can only go forward. They can only move up. So it's something there, and it's if I were down there, it's a very easy storyline for me. It's just new beginnings and where this can lead. Because again, what we know of Trevor Lawrence, or what we know of Urban Meyer, at least at the college level, that the guy's a winner, and the young man that's going to be taking over, he's going to be the face of this franchise. He's proven to be a winner. So that would be my storyline.
That leads us to number 2. And for a second, I'm like, what the heck is Glenn doing? It's 95 degrees here in the Philadelphia. You're down in Maryland, Glenn, and so it's probably about 90 degrees down there. And you put on a Jets coat. So they're picking 2. All roads lead to Provo, Utah, and Brigham Young University, and Zach Wilson. Kind of, I guess he's more the Mahomes type of this draft. He's the guy who can throw the ball 60 yards across his body. Kind of a one-year wonder. This time last year, he was battling with 2 other guys just to become the quarterback of BYU. Had a sensational year. So talk about, and anyone, you played in that market, how tough it is. Number 1, the skill set of Zach Wilson, and number 2, coming from Provo, Utah, to battling for the starting position, to becoming the starting quarterback of the New York Jets.
Originally, I thought he was from Provo, Spain, but being from Provo, Utah, he won't have much of a problem. And he's going to Jersey, which there's some cornfields out there in New Jersey where he's not going back to Hofstra where I practice. So the media will shock him at first because there's so much of it, and then they come at you like rabid dogs. But I'm excited. I'm not sold on him. Again, he's a little bit undersized. He's got all the tools. And when everybody saw him make the throw in the pro day, everyone was thinking Aaron Rodgers, which I did too. And we're all excited. He's got the face for New York. He can sell in New York. They got to win in New York. So I think it's a no-brainer pick for him. There was a couple early issues about his shoulder and some of the things, but no, he can do things like the Kyler Murrays, the Patrick Mahomes of the world, even Aaron Rodgers. These are middle infielder types. These guys that can get the shotgun ball, flick it, move their hips, get the ball out quick, get the ball to the guys they're supposed to get it to them on time, accurately. He's just another guy like that. So that's what they're looking for. They're looking for an Aaron Rodgers type, an Aaron Rodgers molded type quarterback with the face of a Ken doll, if you will, to light up New York City, a city that's struggling right now. That could use them and could really turn that city upside down if they start winning. The Jets, everyone's like, don't go to the Jets. It's a bad place. They'll never win. They can win. You can win in New York. We won there with Parcells. It can be done. And when you do win with the Jets, it's crazy. So I'm excited about it. Then again, finds another offensive lineman, a couple more weapons, and then solid up to D, and then we got ourselves a team.
Joe, anything you want to expound on that with Zach Wilson coming to the New York Jets?
I understand he's a bit of a cross between I used to love Jake the Snake Plummer, and a little bit of Johnny Manziel coming out of college. Now, so stressed coming out of college. This is something here that in time he could be very good. That's a projection about him. That he needs to in time discipline his game, and that'll come in time as Glenn knows. Once the pro game begins to slow down for him. But this guy, I think he's listed. I think he's listed at 6'2", so he's a little bit bigger. He's a little bit bigger than Aaron Rodgers. I think Aaron Rodgers is maybe around 5'10", 6 foot. He has from what I understand, he has an explosive big arm. What's going to be his issue is how quickly he can, how he could slow the game down, and how quickly he could slow himself down in terms of taking chances and things. If the sooner he disciplines himself, the better he's going to become, the quicker he's going to become, and in turn, obviously, if he's good, the Jets will be good. And the Jets will turn a page, but we don't think the Jets will fit anytime soon.
Well, it helps. It helps last year's draft pick they took back to last year. I personally, I thought they should have kept Darnold, who went to my brother down at the Panthers, and then picked Sewell this year. And then they would have had. I could have came back out of retirement with Becton and Sewell playing tackle for me. But no, I think it's going to be dynamic. If nothing else, he's going to be exciting to watch, and I get the great tickets to go to the game. So I'm pumped to watch him. He's going to be a fun ticket, whether he's a Brett Favre, a Manziel, a Baker Mayfield mix, whatever we're looking at. Hopefully, he's going to bring some wins to New York. But again, he's excitement. These billionaires, these coaches, these teams, they fall in love with the young quarterbacks, especially now with COVID and the discounted. The salary cap. They're taking a hit on the salary cap. So that's why this draft is so important. These guys are cheaper. There's a cap on the draft. There's a cap on the rookies, and it's important to not mess up.
That takes us in, and it's a good segue you say about these guys falling in love with these quarterbacks. The San Francisco 49ers are picking at 3. Seem to have a good, solid starting quarterback who helped lead them to a Super Bowl 2 years ago. Yet Kyle Shanahan traded from 12 up to 3 and right away said, we're picking a quarterback. Conventional wisdom over the last couple weeks, Mac Jones, maybe Trey Lance. Glenn, what are your thoughts on, what the 49ers did, everything with Garoppolo, and now with Mac Jones and Lance looking like the heir apparent much sooner rather than later?
I like what they did just to get up there. Just get there first, and then see how the chips fall. And then, whoever they pick, I personally think it's going to be Mac. I think it's going to be Mac Jones. I don't like the pick. I like Lance better than Jones. Again, what's going to happen with Garoppolo? That's my thing is if Garoppolo, I don't know that Mac Jones is going to be that much better than Jimmy Garoppolo. I really don't. Trey Lance is probably a better fit for that team, but again, it looks like it's going to be Mac Jones. I'm not a big fan of the pick. But these guys are enamored. They think they can create. Shanahan, I think Shanahan's a baboon. I love Johnny Lynch. Johnny Lynch is a great dude, great friend of mine. But I just don't like Shanahan. He's got these. Everyone thinks he's a magical wizard offense. This time, he's got some of the most dynamic athletes in the NFL on the team, and he can coach. I'm not killing him for that, but he thinks he can take a quarterback and just turn him into Johnny Unitas or Joe Montana when that's just not the case. So he's got a great team already. I wouldn't even mess with Garoppolo. I would keep Garoppolo. And now you're thinking about, man, you could do a million things without having to mess with the quarterback because, frankly, if you're not getting Lawrence, you're taking a chance. Even if you're even my Jets, you're taking a chance with with taking Wilson at 2 because he could get hit twice and be broken half.
I have a great idea. So, obviously there's a quarterback controversy going on. Maybe we should send Joe out to San Francisco and find out what's going on inside the San Francisco locker room with their starting quarterback.
Joe, I said this. I said you were right. I said everyone was having their opinions on the insider information and all this, and I wasn't necessarily totally in agreement with the process, but you were dynamic in your reporting. You were dynamic in your journalism, and you deserve a lot of credit. You got a lot of heat for that, undeservedly. When it was all said and done, and I give you credit. I give you credit right now and now because you were right, even though I don't necessarily love. You know me. I don't love the unnamed source, but hey, if your job as a reporter is to get the scoop, you got it. Congratulations, you did a great job.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. I think, Glenn, because Mark knows quite a bit of where the bones are buried with that. The thing that was unique about that story is, again, I'm walking out of the link in Sunday night in December 2018, after that national TV loss to the Cowboys. And I just literally ran into a whole position group, and I just made the comment, just very innocuous comment, just Jesus, Mike Groh's really liking this up. And they go, Joe, it's not Groh, it's Wentz. He's really screwing it all up. And the other thing that was interesting about the story is that the first 2 weeks, Glenn, guys were coming to me. Guys were coming to me. They were coming to me, and then finally I was like, wait a second, there's something here going on. So, but you know what? Everybody's good for it. Everybody's better for it. I think the Eagles needed to part ways with Wentz. I think Wentz is in a better place mentally.
It all works out. It all works out in the end. And the fact that no one liked your narrative was they actually started ganging up on you. And I was doing YSP for I'm not a huge fan of YSP in terms of it's Angelo's way or no way. But anyway, they were killing you, and I almost took the bait. And then as I watched it unwind, you were there, and I credit you for that. But even though I'm not a huge fan of it. But anyway, where are we going now? Where are we at? We're going right back to draft. I just say if anyone has any questions.
Let me ask, Glenn, what do you like about Mac Jones over, for example, Trey Lance
or a Fields
and Justin Fields, who are projected to go higher than Mac Jones? You look at all these various mock drafts, and and I know. You know what? The three of us probably know as much as everybody that's projecting these guys. In other words, no one knows anything. We do know Trevor Lawrence is going to be the first pick. That's what we all know. We can confirm that.
Yeah.
But after that, everything else is out there. I've seen guys go from, for example, I've seen Devonta Smith go as high as 5 or 6 in some mocks, and as low as 19 on others. So but what I have seen though consistently, and you know far more about the quarterback position than a lot of people, certainly including myself. But what do you see, or why do you see Mac Jones going that high as opposed to Justin Fields, Trey Lance and Justin Fields?
I actually think, the way I see it, I think Lance is a better pick for the 49ers than Jones. But here's the thing. Jones has played for Alabama, top-notch, and you never saw a moment in time when Mac Jones was on the field that he held them back. You know what I'm saying? Well, he had all these. He had Waddle, and he had
let me interject something, Glenn. You make a good point. Is he a product of that system?
He is, but he didn't. The system didn't have to slow down because he was there. He actually, this is my shock pick is coming at 6. I think Fields is going 6 to Miami. People are like, you're crazy. Why? Well, Tua, because Tua's arm's horrible. Now Fields, I don't like Fields. I have Fields dropping. I think Chris Sims had a very, in my opinion, he had probably one of the more accurate drafts, other than Fields dropping to 32. I think that's ridiculous. But I think Fields is going to get picked up by someone who just falls in love with him. He's a winner. I don't know how true the rumors are about his work ethics, but I'm going to dismiss that because I know Ryan Day.
Does Dwayne Haskins hurt Justin Fields?
No, not at all. Justin Fields is a whole different beast. Justin Fields is a stud, and he's going to be a winner. Justin Fields. The problem I see Justin Fields almost as an identical clone as Carson Wentz, who runs a little bit better. He's got the same hiccup. When you see these guys when they release, watch my right arm. I want you as these guys pull their arms away from the ball. If this was my right arm. Okay, you see Fields' elbow go like this.
Yeah, he kind of goes like this a little. Yeah.
To throw the ball, you got to now come like this and then drop the elbow's got to lead. So when I see Fields pull his arms apart from the ball and the elbow goes up to his earlobe, he can't be accurate from the pocket in a bad weather game when they keep him in the pocket. Sure, he can run. Sure, he can get out of the pocket. Sure, he's a dynamic athlete. He's a winner. He's got all the intangibles, but he's going to struggle from the pocket in December and January when they keep him in there and they rush him from the outside and they make him throw 40 times from a pocket. It's not running around at USC. It's not RPO. It's drop back and throw it 50 times and be accurate at a 70% clip. I don't think he can do it unless someone fixes his mechanics. Mechanically, Fields is messed up. That's why his stock is dropping.
I don't. Yeah, I agree. I'm in 110% agreement with you in reference to Fields. I don't know if Fields is going to be what the other guys could potentially be. And Mark, I agree with you too in terms of how Mac Jones is a system guy. I mean, I could see him. I'll tell you what. I think a perfect fit. I don't know. Glenn, what do you think of this? I think a perfect fit for Jones would be, obviously, in my opinion, later first round, mid first round, around. I'll tell you what. As I look here at the draft order, the team that kind of leaps out to me, I don't know if you guys agree. The team that reaches out is the Patriots.
Yeah, but it looks like he's going to go number 3, Jones. I mean.
You think he's really going to go that high?
Yeah, Jones is a lock at 3. It's you know why? Because they're ready, and he comes in pro ready at a Saban's offense. So I think, and I actually like Lance, and I think the snake could be Lance. There's actually, we were trying to get the Baron of betting on. What's your buddy's name? But there's an outside shot, in my opinion, that the 49ers keep Garoppolo and go Pitts at 3, and that would stir up the draft. People think, well, guess what? Jimmy Garoppolo is still he's owed $56 million.
Yeah,
and no one wants to take on that salary this year.
Mm-hmm. What I'm hearing, and if you want to slide down to the 4th pick, and I know the kid personally, I just spoke to him last week again. Kyle Pitts is getting an overwhelming wealth of attention from the Atlanta Falcons.
Sure,
and that's from his mouth.
Yeah,
he personally thinks he's going to the Falcons.
Yeah, that ultimately. I mean, I have it: Lawrence, Wilson, Jones, Pitts, and then there's a chance Lance gets stuck in there instead of Jones with the 49.
Well, here's the thing with Pitts and why I think Atlanta. Julio's breaking down a little bit, but if you're getting 75 to 85% of Julio Jones, Calvin Ridley, they have a couple other young receivers, and then you got Pitts, work in the middle of the field with the athletic ability he has, and Matt Ryan still can sling it. Although yep. I still think he was the second best Boston College quarterback ever, but that's actually third. We got to put Flutie in there. So Flutie, Glenn, then Matt Ryan.
Not statistically.
No. Well, yeah. I think you definitely had better stats there. But I'm just saying, can you imagine what kind of a nightmare Kyle Pitts is going to be for teams that if Julio's still Julio and Ridley's running?
They can't, here's the problem: they can't afford Julio and Matty and Pitts, so they got to get Julio's on the block right now.
Well,
Julio's
someone said, was it Peter King wrote in his column? He said not that it's going to happen. But he wouldn't be surprised if Julio Jones gets dangled this weekend.
No, he is. Well, if you look, I think the Falcons are number 1 at the bottom in terms of salary cap space. So yeah, they almost have to deal Julio, and then they take Pitts, and it makes complete sense because they're basically the same. They're the same type of player. Pitts is a wide receiver. Let's not kid ourselves. He's not going to be in there gronking people in the block in the run game. So
he's going
to be a mismatch. He's going to be a problem on the wing. blocking, no doubt. But
And Glenn, he says himself that he still needs work in that area. He still needs in terms of hand placement, in terms of power. But and the way Coach Mullen used him down in Florida, he liked him out there because, again, like you were saying, Mark, he's a matchup problem for anybody on the field. He could
he's a jump ball guy. And it's not 50-50. It's a 75-25 with him. He's the longest guy in the history of the league, I think.
Yeah. Well, and he could arguably be the best player in the draft.
Yeah,
a lot of people do think so.
Well, I got if you the best players they'll all sneak up there and get taken. Lawrence, Pitts, Sewell. You can argue the order.
And that leads me to number 5 with the Cincinnati Bengals. The dilemma there is, do we keep our franchise quarterback upright, drafting the tackle that most people said, just put him in there, pencil him in the starting lineup, you won't have to worry for the next 10 to 13 years in Penei Sewell? Or do you get the wide receiver who you just lost A.J. Green, who was your all-time franchise receiver, to replace him with Joe Burrow's favorite target at LSU, Jamar Chase? What do you...
I'm taking Sewell in a heartbeat. To protect Burrow's a 12-year guy. Sewell's a 12-year guy. Chase looks like a 12-year guy, but you don't know. But Burrow's a good player. Protect him. And Sewell can be argued amongst some of the people I've talked to in the league as talented as Pitts is as a player at tight end. Sewell's as talented at tackle.
So let me ask you this: who's your best friend, Glenn? Is it your left tackle or is it your all-world wide receiver?
It's my left tackle or my center, and the center's underrated too. So these teams with the young quarterbacks got to get centers too.
Joe, anything to add to that?
No, not really. I think the leaning may be towards Chase. I mean, I think Glenn makes perfect sense, but we both know common sense is not exactly prevalent in the NFL.
Especially the Cincinnati Bengals.
Yeah. But, I mean, it's a win-win either way for them. I mean, they're picking so high. And here's the other thing, too, is and I just saw it on the scroll today, is they're not going to renew their center.
Billy Price, yes.
This is going to be it for him. So hopefully, again, they're going to pick high again in the second round. Then you possibly look for a tackle there. But my leaning, my personal, I think they're going to go if it goes the way it should go. And you guys again, Lawrence, Wilson, Jones, Pitts. Then I think the 5th pick probably will be Jamar Chase. And again, it's a win-win either way they go, whether they go Chase or whether they go Sewell.
Glenn, what do you think of the 3 wide receivers here? As the aforementioned Jamar Chase, Devontae Smith, and his college buddy Jalen Waddle. Those it's kind of like last year when they were talking Ruggs, Jefferson, Jerry Jeudy. Somehow Jalen Reagor snuck in there, but that they were picked by Joe's friends at the Eagles. So, so Chase, Smith, and Waddle. What are your thoughts on those?
They're unique.
Before we go in there, a guy who's 6 foot and 165 pounds. Is this a guy that you can say is going to be a franchise type wide receiver?
No, it's hard. It's hard to say that. It's hard to say.
And we're talking about Devontae Smith, obviously.
Yeah, obviously. No, I like Chase, Waddle, and Smith in that order. I think they had him in the 160 pound category.
Well, he weighed in in Indianapolis, I guess last week. They went for one final medical at 166.
Yeah, I think if someone doesn't fall in love with him, Miami could take him ideally at 6. I think Miami shocks people with Fields. I already said that, but it wouldn't surprise me if they took the next best wide receiver there. They kind of admitted at the end of last year they weren't. Tua was not the guy, and it wasn't because he couldn't handle the team, it was because he didn't have the arm strength. He can't get the ball from sideline to sideline, and that's a problem. So I'm thinking Miami's taking a quarterback. It may sound crazy, it's against the grain, but it wouldn't surprise me if
there's
Justin
no
Fields
shot
goes.
at that happening.
Justin Fields, we'll come back, and when Justin Fields goes 6 to Miami, we'll all be in awe, and we can credit me later. But I just don't have that much faith in Tua, and with Fitzpatrick gone, that if Tua's not the guy, who's backing up Tua?
I don't think you can say. I mean, first of all, Tua went 6-3. He did go 6-3 as a starter.
He's Chad Pennington. He's Chad Pennington, and he can win the games, and he can win you. But when it comes down to press coverage and good pass rush, he's not. His arm strength is going to kill him in the playoffs. It did Pennington. It's going to do it to Tua. I've seen it forever. I didn't like Tua last year. We did the draft. We can pull up the clip. I didn't think he should have got drafted in the top 20.
But when you pair him with his buddy, who he threw the winning touchdown to, Devontae Smith, in the Sugar Bowl about 3 years ago, I think
I would take if they like Tua, they take Sewell there. If he doesn't get taken, if like Joe says, Chase gets taken by Cincy, then Miami automatically takes Sewell if they believe in Tua. That's an automatic.
So let's go down. I guess the next pick is the Detroit Lions at number 7. They need a little bit of everything. Do they go corner with Surtain or one of those kind of guys, or who are you looking at?
It could go. They could actually trade out of the. I think they're gonna break from what they've been doing in the past. They may trade this back to get some picks. They need to build. I think I heard Orlovsky doing a big scream job today about it. But take the best player. You want beef there. If you can't get your beef there, trade the pick back, get more picks, and then build yourself a team.
The feedback I'm getting, and again, this is from the horse's mouth. This is from Michael Parsons himself. He's getting a lot of attention from Detroit. He thinks if not Detroit at 7, he's definitely got to go to the Giants at 11. And again, that's the feedback he's getting, the feeling the player himself is getting, that he's got to either go 7 to the Lions or he'll go 11 to the Giants. So that's where, I mean, again, that's from him.
Yeah.
So
I think Parsons could be one of these guys that Belichick's eye, and there's a couple. I think J.C. Horn's another guy. There's a couple guys that these teams fall in love with. Parsons is one of them. I think it's Parsons, Horn. I think Surtain's actually going to drop behind Farley, and but you'll see Belichick. Belichick will run up to grab the best defensive either linebacker or the longest corner. If you see Belichick moving, he may be saying he's moving to get a quarterback, but he's not. He's going to get the best corner, and he's talking about dealing Stephon Gilmore now too. So, he always loves long corners. Belichick, long corners and linebackers. So that's where he's going to go if he moves up.
Number 8 is a team that Glenn knows very well as his brother is an assistant coach with the Carolina Panthers under Matt Rule. I don't know how much intel you may know or can give us, but I don't know. What can you tell us about the Carolina Panthers?
Well, nothing from my brother's mouth because he refuses to talk to me about any of this. Because
I don't think it's anything to do with draft picks.
And it has nothing to do with football. Yeah. The Panthers just traded Teddy to Denver.
Yes.
Paying some of his salary. I think they're paying 70% of it, 7 of the $10 million owed. That means this is scaring. This is scaring me because if Fields is around at 8, he may go. They could take him. It's as scary as it sounds.
Yeah.
You got Darnold there, and I just read an article. They haven't offered Darnold his 5th-year extension. So, but they need corner and they need offensive line badly. So wherever that falls, I think the Panthers, if Pitts, which I think goes at 4, or
and I'm sorry, Glenn, and if not 4, Pitts will go to the Dolphins at 6. He's not going to slide down that far. Great point on Fields, on Justin Fields, and I or how about this? They possibly trade down.
Yep. I put Chris Sims' mock had it, and my brother doesn't listen to me, but I go, if you don't get the guy you want, trade it back, because there's a crop of guys, and there's going to be a run on guys. There's going to be the teams that want to trade up they're coming up for receivers. If the Eagles go up, they're probably going up for a receiver. They could go get a corner, but they're probably going for a receiver if they move up. So
can the Panthers, bottom line, can they win, and can Sam Darnold be their longtime their 10-year quarterback?
23 years old. It's yet to be seen. He was just not protected in New York. Hard to tell. Robbie Anderson had a connection with him. He's in Carolina. So that helps that situation.
DJ Moore's a good wide receiver there.
But again, Darnold,
and he's got the running game with McCaffrey.
Darnold becomes the X factor. Yeah, and that's why I screamed to my brother, take an offensive lineman with that first pick.
So now we go to 9. Actually, I just lost my thing. The order. Who we got at 9?
Denver's 9.
Denver's at 9.
Denver makes a trade today for Bridgewater, and they said they're still, who knows? Everyone's throwing smoke up in the room now. Number 9, they still said that they're not out of the quarterback realm, Glenn, with Locke and Bridgewater.
That would just be based on if the guys fell. I mean, you got to remember that the best players in the draft are Pitts, Lawrence, Sewell, Chase, and then you're talking. So now, as you get 5, 6, 7, 8 deep, does somebody come up and take, Mac Jones, and do 5 quarterbacks go in the first 7 picks because of trades? We don't know that. No one knows any of that stuff's going to happen. So, but we do know that Pitts is probably the best overall player in the draft with Lawrence, and then Sewell. And then after that, you got needs-based picks coming. So nothing's going to surprise me. And you're going to get teams that we're all talking like we know what we're talking about, where you could get the Patriots to trade up to 4 and take Pitts, and then you get they just threw the draft upside down. So all of it can happen, but the consensus is what we basically talked about: Lawrence, Wilson, Jones, Pitts, Sewell or Chase into, a wide receiver and offensive lineman from Miami, and then the Lions with a defensive guy probably.
Do the Dallas Cowboys pick the best corner, whether it's Horn, whether it's Surtain, or another defensive player?
It's a weird situation. The East is so bad, and they're all rebuilding. I think it's one of those almost take the best available, but you want beef. And the shame is there's no D line, so you could get offensive line there, and you can get corner. It looks like it looks like corners what Dallas is after. So, and there's 3 or 4 corners. There's some corners at Georgia. There's a kid at Virginia Tech. So there's
Surtain. That's Farley. We're talking about Surtain.
But remember the corners. There's always people waiting in the weeds in the grass for the corner. So you could get someone move up to 7 and take a corner, 8 take a corner, and then the rush on the corner starts before you think, because D line's weak, running backs weak. And, everyone needs corners. Everyone needs quarterbacks. Everyone needs O linemen, and there's no D linemen. So you're going to get a rush on all of them. And when that happens, you get panic. So if a corner gets taken at 5 or 7, now all of a sudden you get panic, and there's everything changes. So last year what happened was after 9, I think there was only 2 legitimate corners in the draft. After the second one went, it was the draft just calmed down. But there's the jockeying that's going on right now for those first 9 to 12 to 15 positions is insane. I know for a fact the Eagles are dogged trying to get up to the top 10.
Don't be surprised.
I know for a fact that they're after either Waddle or Smith, whoever they can get. So Parsons still is an outside shot there.
If he's still there, don't be surprised if the Dallas Cowboys, because their offensive line is getting old and getting injured. Tyron Smith is always hurt. Rashawn Slater.
Slater, yeah.
If
That's
Slater's
awesome.
there, don't be shocked if the Cowboys pick him.
Slater, from what little I know about all these guys, regardless of what we think we know, and I'll tell you what, these guys are in those draft rooms, and they may know this, that, and the other thing, but they don't really know much more than the three of us. But I think what I do know about Slater is he's capable of playing a few positions. He can go guard or attack from what I've seen and some of the scouting stuff that I've seen on him. So that's a very important part for Dallas to have that versatility to move up and down on the offensive line. But I also know that they have an inkling towards. I mean, if he's still on the board, J.C. Horn, but he may be gone by then.
Mm. So 11, we got the Giants. We think Parsons, if he's there, goes to the Giants. Who else do the Giants look for? And for everyone who's watching, we're just gonna go to 12 tonight. And
wide receiver in New York would make sense, but protect the quarterback.
Well, they drafted the tackle at number 4 last year, Andrew Thomas. I think they're okay at offensive line. I think either wide receiver to give Daniel Jones some help.
Yes, there's many ways to protect the quarterback, but yeah, and then the I truly believe the Eagles are going to make it into the top. I think the Eagles make it into the top. I'll just say 10.
Joe, what are you hearing? What's obviously you're the insider with the Eagles, and well,
this is a little bit of a different regime than the tentacles I had in the other staff.
It's
still a Howie Roseman, Jeff Lurie kind of thing.
They clean the swamp on you, Joe. They clean the swamp.
They clean the swamp on a lot of us. Glenn. They clean the swamp on a lot of us. That's with this whole new regime in here. I think they go either Patrick Surtain here, or they go Devonta Smith. I am not crazy about. Watch, I say those two. It's either going to be one of those two. And watch if Waddle slips. I'm not exactly sold on Waddle. I don't know. When you get hurt like that with the injury, and I believe it was a broken ankle, it takes time to heal. And there's always that chance there. And knowing the Eagles, Waddle. How about this? Knowing the Eagles, Waddle slips down to 12. The Eagles wind up taking him, and God forbid the poor kid breaks his ankle again at the Novatare complex the first day of practice.
Yeah. If I'm the Eagles, I'm going corner. I'm going corner. You still have Fletcher. I'm going corner. I just think that makes the most sense. Whether it be Jason, there's a few corners in there. And Georgia's got a couple. Georgia's got a couple corners that can really play.
Yeah, so, the cornerback from Georgia. I have everything written down here. Just keep talking. I'll find it.
There's some corners where the Eagles can sit there and make. But I really think they got their eyes on a receiver, and they're trying to bust to get back into the top 10.
Well, let me ask you this: if they're trading back into the top 10, any shot that they trade back in to get a quarterback?
No, that wouldn't make any sense.
Here's the next question.
I got Joe Flacco.
Glenn, the Eagles are making sense. The Eagles are making sense. They haven't made sense in a while.
No, I'm not. I'm interested to see. I'm agreeing with you. I was the first.
You're right. I mean, I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm
the first. I was the first one to say that both Roseman and Peterson were gone. I said it on IP.
Yeah. Yes, you did.
I said, and everyone was like, "What are you talking about? You're crazy." I go, "No, I think that there's been a complete breakdown from communication from the ownership down straight to the quarterback and the head coach, and now I can look back and say I told you so." But not that I'm not proud of it, but you can see when the locker room gets broken. Joe, you saw it before anybody, and just those murmurs, and then there was murmurs of Howie and Doug fighting at practice, and it was all kinds of rumors going on. I'm like, wait, none of this makes any sense except if there's this total cleaning of the house coming. And I said it. I was a pariah, but that's what we do. That's how we do it, Joey, right?
Yeah.
By the way, the two Georgia cornerbacks are Eric Stokes and Tyson Campbell.
Yes.
What happens, Joe? Joe,
yeah.
What happens if I can't believe I'm even going to ask this question? I just asked Glenn the question about them going back in to take a quarterback. Suppose, just for argument's sake, They take a quarterback from North Dakota State named Trey Lance. What happens in this city if they draft another quarterback from North Dakota State?
Oh, it implodes. You'll see a mushroom cloud over Philadelphia. You'll see a midnight green mushroom cloud over Philadelphia. I'll tell you what I do know about Trey Lance, if that were to hypothetically and crazily ever happen. He has a little bit of a different makeup than the other guy that came here from North Dakota State.
You don't even mention that guy's name anymore, do you?
Well, he's in a better spot.
Are you in some kind of legal battle? Are you in some kind of legal battle with Wentz?
He's but I know this guy's from what I know of him, he's a fighter. He'll battle. I don't see it happening. I don't see him slipping down to any position where the Eagles would be able to move up. But he has a different, from what I'm told, and this is again from North Dakota State people. They wanted to make sure there is a difference between this guy and the other guy. So if he ever slipped down to where the Eagles had a shot at him, it's been staunchly defended, declared. Trey Lance is a different cat than the other guy that wore number 11.
No, I get it, and he's mechanically more sound. You could tell that he's big, and he's bigger than I thought. I have him ranked 3. I still have him going to the Niners, and even though everyone's telling me he's going 100% to Mac Jones is going to the Niners. I have Trey Lance because he can move, and if for some reason you get stuck with Garoppolo. You can Trey Lance can 1 year will help that kid more than it'll help Mac Jones. Mac Jones makes a lot of sense for the 49ers because the team is so good. And he knows he's been at that high level, he can understand, he can process, and I think he's just not going to mess it up as much as these other guys are more of a wild card than Mac Jones would be in that particular offense.
Mm-hmm.
Well, there you have it. So that's,
Mark, let me ask you this, Mark. What do you think? Where do you think the Eagles go at 12?
If they stay at 12, it's going to be somewhere between 3 Alabama guys and the cornerback from South Carolina. I'm talking Waddle. I'm talking Devontae Smith if he's there, or I think J.C. Horn or Patrick Surtain.
I don't know. I think Horn would go sooner only for the fact that, again, what I do know is he played out of everybody that manned up and tried to shut down Kyle Pitts. Kyle Pitts he's a matchup nightmare. Okay, we all agree with that. But the guy that played him the best, the guy that defended him very, very well, was J.C. Horn. So he's tall, he's lean, he's lanky. He's a guy that is aggressive and breaks through the ball really well. Surtain, I think he's capable.
Not more hype. More hype than I think a guy whose stock will drop. And a guy, I think Horn gets drafted before Surtain.
Yeah, definitely.
I got a question for you, Glenn.
Yep.
Did Surtain's dad ever get you?
Probably everybody's dad got me. Everyone's. I see all these juniors out there. I'm like, hey, that guy got me. That guy got me. That guy's dad got me. And then they just did a thing on Pat Tillman. God rest his soul. He picked sixth. Man, every time they do a tribute to him. They show him running into the end zone with me chasing him behind him, but not as I lose ground in and around the 10-yard line.
I believe Joe actually. I've seen Joe sport the old Pat Tillman jersey. Is that correct?
What's that, Mark?
You actually have a Pat Tillman jersey, if I'm not mistaken.
I have a couple of them. Yeah. I got a chance
honorable
to beat
dude, man.
So if Glenn pisses you off, just put the jersey on. They'll start giving him nightmares again.
I made a bad throw. He ran in the end zone, and I ran in the end zone, and I'm like, you're welcome, dude. You're welcome. I threw it right to him.
Well, let me ask you this, Glenn. If he would have put on a Peter Boulware or a Ray Lewis jersey, would that kind of get you a little bit?
Yes, that would have got me. That would have got me a lot, and I would have felt pain in my rib cage.
Well, there you have it. So So this is just a little preview what we're doing. We just did 50 minutes. So what we're going to do tomorrow night, we're going to stay on for the first 12, maybe 15 picks of the draft tomorrow night, and break down the picks as they happen. Joe will come back. Philly Godfathers has been asked to come on. The college kids.
Quick, I wanted the Godfather, and this is the three.
Wasn't feeling well tonight.
The three pick, and Joe will love this. The three pick, the 49ers, to match up on the other side with Kittle. Pitts goes 3 to 6.
Well, they'll be here
in the shocking development.
They'll be here with all the odds
fields.
and
everybody can pick what everybody else is picking. I'm saying, how about Pitts to the 49ers? That would make them unbelievably dynamic.
I mean, incredible.
Keep Garoppolo, because I don't think these other quarterbacks are as good. Pitts goes to San Francisco. And then it just upends the draft.
And then there you go. And Glenn, there you go. Hernandez and Gronkowski.
Yeah,
Gronkowski.
Unstopped, and they're loaded. And any quarter, and that makes Jimmy Garoppolo that much better because they just signed both. They had 2 offensive tackles they just signed that are both studs. They don't need to get a quarterback.
The thing that Shanahan just says we're picking a quarter. Who says
Shanahan's an idiot. I think he's his answer to the question of what about Jimmy Garoppolo? He might be dead on Sunday. I just would have went into his office and punched him right in his face and said, "Let's fight, and then we'll be friends tomorrow." What are you doing? What are you doing? You owe me $56 million. You idiot! You're going to admit that you made that big of a mistake? You just cost the organization $500,000.
Yeah, half a hundred.
So
tomorrow night we'll have some of your follow the action favorites here with the, I guess, so we'll talk the ramifications, everything. We'll try maybe to make some people some money on their accounts. I do believe you can bet the draft.
Pitts at 3 is like plus 3,500. He's the only one that can get taken 3 other than one of these quarterbacks.
Well, there you have it. Thank you. We had a ton of people tuning in tonight. I wish more people would ask some questions. Questions tomorrow night. Well, maybe we'll give some stuff away. We'll give some.
We can talk about my feud with Brooks Koepka today.
You want to get in that really quick?
Koepka and school president Dave Portnoy they're doing some kind of battle, and I misread the whole thing. And Portnoy he asked Brooks Koepka to stay at his place in the Hamptons, which is like a 19-star hotel. And Koepka was basically like, "That's beneath me." So I texted him, "You're a douche," and that wasn't that nice either. And then he started hitting me back. I said, "I'm in a brawl with Brooks Koepka as we speak on Twitter." I go, "Brooks, I'm really not that important. Leave me alone." Then I'm getting the Brooks Koepka army hitting me up on it. "You're an idiot," blah blah blah. But we can talk about more of that tomorrow. But yeah.
Well, hold on. I got some questions. Lou Ferry, my man from Cherry Hill, is Tua still falling?
I told you last year Tua should have fell, and then at the end of the year when they were playing Fitzpatrick, what I was saying ultimately came true. It just doesn't have a strong arm. I love him and he can win, but he better have good defense and good weapons around him, and he can manage a team. He's Chad Pennington with a left arm. I watched Pennington, and when he got into the playoffs and you got good defenses with good rush, and you got man-to-man coverage, you have to have a rifle, and Tua doesn't have a rifle. Bro, I was screaming last year, Herbert, and no one wanted to listen to me.
Just get back on your Brooks Koepka thing. I'm going to do my best to try to get you with get some kind of charity thing.
He's already doing a charity thing. I messed up. I misread it because it was a misread by me, and I actually apologized. But then I got hit. I was still getting hit with hatred. Then I fired back. So I don't know where
I think on any given Sunday you could give Koepka a run for his money on the links.
In my prime, I would have dominated him.
Well, you told me.
But I also said, "Hey, listen, Brooks. I had a chance to be a golfer too, but I decided to play a sport."
Not a weekend hobby.
Yeah, not a hobby. I mean, I fly my paper airplanes on the weekends. I can do that or bowl. That's the same as golfing. I can bowl or play cricket or croquet, whatever it's called.
We'll get some late questions here. Eric
Botcher.
Bocher. Who should the 49ers pick?
I
Poacher.
think they should take Trey Lance.
Or Poacher.
You think they should pick?
I think they
Well, you
should take Trey Lance because he moves better than Mac Jones.
You just said you think they should pick. They should pick Pitts though.
No, I say Pitts. I said if you're betting, in terms of odds, he's Mac Jones is -300. Pitts is plus 3,500, something like that. It's crazy.
So
but
that's
there's
for
going to
the
be
value.
a shock. There's going to be a shock in the draft.
I'm sure there will be.
Pitts is the
And it'll
one-
probably come at 12.
Yeah, it's going to come in the first 6, I think, maybe 8. There's going to be a shock. Someone's coming up.
Well, there you have it. That's our show for tonight. Damn, we almost did an hour. I can't believe Joe stayed awake this long for this.
It's amazing.
You know what? Joe Biden's probably sleeping right now, but I think he doesn't have to speak now.
Yeah, you know what? Did he speak already? That's what I mean. I have no fear. I'll go head to head with Biden anytime. If he's speaking, or is he speaking at 9?
We have 12 viewers. That's more than him. and we don't wear masks. We can at least people can see try to read our lips. And I'm not political. I'm an independent. So that was good.
So hold on. It says 2 guys ducked the question. Who should the 49ers pick?
Trey Lance.
They're going to pick Mac Jones, but they should pick Trey Lance.
I say Trey Lance.
Is that a good enough answer for you, Eric? I don't know.
They should pick Trey Lance, but they're going to pick Mac Jones. That's my opinion.
And Joe, what do you think?
Trey Lance.
I think
I'm going to go chalk. I'm going to go Trey Lance.
I think they should pick. If they're going to pick a quarterback, I think Justin Fields. They should pick him. But it seems like
you're wearing that hat, though.
What's that?
You're wearing that hat, though.
Yeah, it's a nice hat.
Chris Sims has him dropping to 32, which I think is a little nuts. But mechanically speaking,
I'm not sold on Fields. I'm not completely sold on Fields.
What aren't you sold about him? He played one bad game against. He played 2 bad games his whole career against Indiana and Northwestern. Oh well.
I just don't. Here's where Fields. My problem with Fields. You watch him release his hands from the ball. Elbow goes straight up in the air. For him to get back down in the pocket, you have to get Marino ball from here to here. Trey Lance from here, elbow.
There
like
it
this.
is.
Okay, elbow. It's hard to do it, and he can't be accurate quickly in the pocket. And these guys are smart. They understand how to rush these quarterbacks who are not accurate from the pocket, and they do it well. And when you force a guy to have to throw it 40 times in January and he can win. His legs are he's gonna win games. He can win the MVP, but I just don't think he can win the Super Bowl. Unless he's in the dome. Lamar, Fields, and even Wentz they have to be in domes because they're not accurate passes. The domes help them. Flat fields, no weather.
There you have it. So tune back in tomorrow night. Joe, Glenn, Godfather, 8-Ball, College Kids. We'll get some more people. Maybe we'll get some inside info from around the league. Glenn, thank you for a few minutes of your night. Actually, an hour. Joe, go back. You can put your TV up again and not interrupt the stream. And whatever the heck
sorry
you were
for interrupting you, Joe.
Yeah. We apologize.
Weasel, no 8 balls for you tomorrow night. All right?